Good day and welcome to Alena Media TV. We are broadcasting from Toronto, Canada. I am Elsa Abraham, and in today's episode, we are bringing you African news. Our headlines for today. Leader of Ethiopia's Tigray forces says fighting near Mekelle. And in another story, rockets hit Eritrea capital after Ethiopia declares victory. And plane shoots down amid fighting despite PM's assertions, Tigray chief says. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back is our news in details. Welcome back from that short break now. The TPLF leader says he is still fighting close to the regional capital after it was captured by the government troops. The leader of Ethiopia's rebellious northern forces has said he is still fighting close to the regional capital of Mekelle after it was captured by the government troops. The Gabriel Michael, who heads the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the TPLF also told Reuters news agency in a text message that some Eritrean soldiers fighting alongside the Ethiopian federal forces had been taken prisoner by his side. Beleni Seyoin, the spokeswoman for the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, told Reuters media that responding to delusions of a criminal clique was not the government's focus. There was no immediate comment from the Eritrean government, though at the start of the more than 3-week conflict, it had denied involvement. Military vehicles are seen near Axum Airport on November 23, 2020, according to a satellite image from Magza Technologies. Claims from all sides are difficult to verify since phone and internet links to the Tigray region have been largely down and access tightly controlled since the war began on November 4th. On Sunday, a day after Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed declared victory in the northern region, Tigray's forces claimed they shot down a military plane and retook a town from federal forces. Gabriel Michael told the media his forces also captured the pilot of a military plane. There was no immediate comment from the government or the military. The Ethiopian government has been trying to quell a rebellion by the TPLF, a powerful ethnically based party that dominated the central government for nearly 3 decades until Abiy came to power in 2018. Thousands of people are believed to have been killed since the fighting began. More than 43,000 have fled to neighboring Sudan, and there are reports of militias attacking civilians. The conflict has been a difficult test for Abiy, a leader who pledged to unite the myriad ethnic groups that made up Ethiopia's 115 million population, but who has faced repeated bouts of violence across the country. The flow of refugees and rocket attacks by the TPLF on neighboring Eritrea also threatened to destabilize the wider of African region. Abiy Ahmed, who has rebuffed international efforts to mediate, said on Saturday evening that federal troops had been in control of the Tigrayan capital Mekelle, allaying fears of protected fighting in the city of 5,000 people. He said federal police will try to arrest the TPLF criminals and bring them to court. Police then issued arrest warrants for 17 military officers on charges of treason and embezzlement of public property, state-affiliated Fana TV reported. Arrest warrants already exist for 117 senior officers who alleged ties to the TPLF. Now, with the scripture of armed war, it was not clear if any TPLF leaders has surrendered or been apprehended since Saturday. Their whereabouts were also unknown, even as the TPLF withdrew from Mekelle. Gebretson, the group's chairman, told the media his forces would fight on, a declaration that raised the specter of a drawn-out armed war. In Saturday's text messages, he said that the TPLF had also retaken the town of Axum. Also on Sunday, Ethiopian state television said that 70 graves, some holding individual and some multiple bodies, were found in the town of Humera in Tigray, and quoted witnesses who claimed the victims were killed by the pro-TPLF fighters. The report could not be independently verified. Human rights investigators and civilians fleeing the conflict says that fighters from both sides, including the civilian militias supporting more than formal security forces, have carried out mass killings. Both the government and the TPLF denied their forces were involved. The International Committee of the Red Cross Society said that Mekelle was quiet on Sunday, but it has said in a statement that hospitals were running low on supplies, such as gloves to care for the wounded, and one hospital lacked body bags for the bodies that were arriving in. At Ida Referral Hospital, one of the city's biggest ICRC, said it found approximately 80% of patients to be suffering from trauma injuries, without specifying how the injuries were sustained. The influx of wounded forces the hospital to suspend many other medical services so that limited staff and resources could be devoted to emergency medical care, the ICR added. Attacks on Asmara. Regional diplomats and experts have also said that a quick military victory in Mekelle might not mark the end of the conflict. On Saturday, hours after Abiy announced Mekelle had fallen to federal forces, rockets were launched from Tigray, hitting Asmara, the capital of the neighboring Eritrea, two diplomats told the AFP news agency. The rockets appeared to be aimed at Asmara's airport and military installations, though it was unclear where they landed and what damage they might have caused. The U.S. Embassy in Asmara reported that 6 explosions had occurred in the city as about 10:13 p.m., 19:13 GMT on Saturday. The TPLF has also accused Eritrea of sending troops into Tigray in support of the Ethiopian government and said that had fired rockets at Asmara on November 14th. The TPLF had a history of armed resistance. Tigray's mountainous terrain and borders with the Sudan and Eritrea helped the group during its long struggle against Marxist strongman Mengistu Haile Mariam, whom it eventually toppled in 1991. The TPLF and Eritrean forces fought together against Mengistu, and Eritrea secured its independence from Ethiopia with his departure, but relations soured soon after. The two nations went to war over a border dispute in 1998 to the year 2000. Abiy Ahmed won a Nobel Peace Prize last year for making peace with Eritrea, but the TPLF continues to regard the country as a mortal enemy. Abiy's government launched the offensive in Tigray after what it described as an attack by local forces on the federal troops stationed there. The TPLF accuses Abiy of wanting to consolidate control at the expense of Ethiopia's 10 regions, which exercise wide-ranging powers over matters such as taxation and security. Abiy denies this as well. Tensions escalated after Tigray held a regional elections in September in defiance of the federal government, which had postponed voting nationwide in August because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The government called the Tigray vote illegal. Now moving on to our next story for today. Rockets hit Eritrea's capital after Ethiopia declares victory. The attack marked the third time Asmara has come under fire from Tigray since military operations began there on November 4th. Rockets launched from Ethiopia's northern Tigray region again hit the capital of Eritrea, diplomats said on Sunday at the U.S. Embassy in Asmara reported 6 explosions in the city of Asmara. The blast, which the embassy said occurred about 10 p.m. on Saturday night came hours after Ethiopia Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed declared victory in his military campaign against Tigray ruling party, the TPLF. The attack marked the third time Asmara has come under fire from Tigray since military operations began there on November 4th. The TPLF justified that attack by accusing Ethiopia of enlisting Eritrean military support for its campaign in Tigray, which Ethiopia denies. Two Addis Ababa-based diplomats told the AFP news agency that multiple rockets fired on Saturday night appeared to have hit Asmara airport and military installations, though as with previous attacks, it was unclear where they landed and what damage they might have caused. Eritrea is one of the world's most secretive countries, and the government has not commented on the rocket fire. The TPLF regards Eritrea, which has warm relations with Abiy, as an archenemy. Abiy's last year's Nobel Peace Prize winner declared on Saturday night that military operations in Tigray were completed after the army claimed control over the regional capital in Mekelle. Now, communications blackout. Thousands have died in the fighting and tens of thousands of refugees have streamed across the border into Sudan. Tigray has been under a communications blackout throughout the conflict, making it difficult to assess the full toll of fighting that has included multiple rounds of air raids and at least one mass killing that led to hundreds of civilian deaths. It was also impossible to independently verify Abiy's claims that Mekelle, a city of 500,000, was fully under federal government control. Abiy said police were working to apprehend the TPLF leaders who were not immediately reachable on Sunday, and those whereabouts are unknown. The TPLF dominated Ethiopian politics from 1991 to 2018 as the most powerful member of a multi-ethnic coalition that ruled with an iron grip. The last few years of its rule were marked by bloody anti-government demonstrations with jails filled with tens of thousands of political prisoners. This year, Abiy Ahmed postpones elections scheduled for August to next year because of COVID-19 pandemic. The TPLF accused him of a power grab, held its own regional elections in September, and announced it no longer recognized federal authority. Now, in our last story for today, breaking news that Ethiopia gives South Sudan diplomats a 72-hour to leave the country. Last reports from the Ethiopia's capital of Addis Ababa allege that the Ethiopian government has given South Sudan diplomats a 72 hours to leave the Ethiopian country. The controversial decision, which was delivered in writing to South Sudan embassy, came less than 24 hours after the Ethiopian president, His Excellency Abdel Fattah al-Selassie, visited the South Sudanese capital, Juba, and was cordially received by President Salva Kiir. The one-day visit of the Egyptian president also witnessed abrupt decision in the Ethiopian embassy in Juba as the Ethiopian ambassador to South Sudan, Fisheha Shawe, exited the country on a short notice. In a letter extended to Nyamilipedia, the South Sudanese officials in Addis Ababa are giving 72 hours to leave the country. We have been given a 72 hours to leave the country. That decision was delivered to us in a letter this morning by the Ethiopian security body, and they told us that they don't want us until further notice. Read a part of the letter extended to the media this morning. The Ethiopia's federal officials allege that the former deputy prime minister and the leader of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, Gebretson Gebremichael, is in South Sudanese capital and could have access to meet the Egyptian president in Juba as the TPLF is battling both Ethiopia and Eritrea. We are hearing that the ambassador of Ethiopia to South Sudan has left the country. We don't know why, but there are rumors that Gebretsion is in Juba, and this is why he left the country. The officials in Addis Ababa tried to reconstruct what could have caused political turmoil between the two sisterly countries. We wrote to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs over the issue. The Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who is trying to contain a political turmoil at his backyard, seems to be struggling. However, he has turned down proposals to mediate the two fighting factions. While the South Sudan government confirms that the Ethiopian ambassador of Juba has left the country, JI does not acknowledge any fault play. They said the South Sudan does not see wrongdoing by South Sudan or any issue that can stain relations with us, adding that we are not enemies but friends. This is where we end today's African News for today. Please like, share, comment. Let us know your thoughts on this particular episode. Thanks for watching.